Hello everyone, we are back. We are at the dining room table and it is time for us to check over the budget that we made for the first pay period of August. That is covering the 1st through the 15th. Let's jump right in and see where things landed. All right, we've zoomed ourselves closer so you guys can see. So first things first, we're looking at income. There were no changes to, it's a little bit awkward, Mr. M's pay. Oopsie, 19, that's a 1.9. So 1963.99 is correct. My pay did have a slight difference. It's $2,226.86. There was no miscellaneous income. We did have a pretty good pay period for Etsy, which was nice because the last pay period of July, we didn't have any sales for those 15 days. So it was very welcome to see the $67.49 come in. The buffer rollover was the same as well. So we'll do a little bit of addition here. 1963.99 plus 2226.86 plus 67.49 plus 200.20. That brings us a total of $4,458.54. All right, so now we're looking at our bills, and this is going to be the first area where we do have some discrepancy and little areas of concern, especially considering the goal that we have for September. Every deviation can have an impact, but let's take a look. So we did have the first of 3 mortgage payments for this month because it is a magic month for mortgage payments for us. No changes with our Netflix cost or the Kindle cost. Somehow I ended up writing this down incorrectly, or reading it incorrectly. I mean, when I first saw it, it was $129 for the increase for my car insurance, but it was actually $129.25 and not $129.50. Now here's where we have our first kind of bump in the road. This is going to be the water bill for July, the usage in July. This will be the second of the monthly payment process that they are doing. So last month the usage was for June, and that was the first of the new go forward monthly cost, and that one was $123.75. So we did, as a guesstimate, $125. Now we did expect that it was going to go up because we have obviously been using more water due to the garden, and it was just so hot in July. But we really didn't know exactly what to expect. Well, it ended up being $139.11, so $14.11 more than we were expecting. I did look because they show on the invoice, kind of a little chart of your usage, and we actually did use less water this July than we did last July, but there also was a rate increase that went into effect July 1st. So, unfortunately, it was a little bit higher than we might have been anticipating. Mr. M's car insurance is $204.58, and unfortunately this will be increasing as well. Mine went up on its renewal date. His is going to be going up starting next month, and it's going to be going up a good chunk. I believe it's going to be $255.75 maybe. Not necessarily unexpected, because for whatever reason, it seems like everything's going up every time a renewal comes in. I would swear, 5 or so years ago, we would see a slight decrease in the insurance costs every year for my car insurance. I want to say for Mr. M's as well, but that trend has changed. But if you watched our videos, you know that earlier last year or this year, I don't even remember when it happened, he did get a speeding ticket. And when I looked online to try and get an idea of what the ramifications of that might be, pretty standard across the board, it would say that you'll probably see a $600 to $800 increase for the year for your policy. Well, if you look at $600 a year, that does equate to about a $50 increase, which is what we're basically seeing here. We probably would have seen some sort of increase anyway, just because obviously mine has increased it as well, but him having that speeding ticket did not help at all. So this does not get reviewed. So now we're going to add these all together. $875 plus $1549 plus $11.99 plus $129.25 plus $139.11 plus $204.58, which becomes a total of $1375.42. And if we take that and subtract it from the $44.58.54 total for our income, we are left with $3,083.12. Okay. No emergency funding this time around. We're just going to do the $200 base for now. So we've got 200 here. We'll fill in the rest after we complete this. So we'll go ahead here and be plus $200. Which means we have remaining income of $2,883.12. Now moving on to our cash envelopes, we did not have any differences for our budgeted items. You'll notice I made a very specific statement there. So we're going to just go in and fill these all in real quickly. They are all the same. $5, $200, $10, $25, and $15. And then last but not least is this $20 down here. All right, so unfortunately, we did have an unexpected cost come through. This one was not necessarily one that we would have been able to guard against. One of the things that we did like to spend our money on was Kickstarter campaigns. And if you're not familiar with that platform, it's basically a place that people who have like an entrepreneurial idea, they're going to produce something. I don't know what the limitations are to what types of things you could be producing and trying to generate money for, but people can go on there and say, here is this plan that I have, what a thing that I want to create, and try and drum up money. And so they'll start a campaign and they'll put a dollar amount that they think they need to make this endeavor successful. And usually there is going to be some kind of product at the end. And then people who are interested in helping to have that come into being and are willing to put their money where their interest is, they can do a pledge. And there's usually multiple tiers at different dollar amounts. And when you pledge at those different dollar amounts, there's often something that you get in return. So it's not necessarily just you giving them money. though I think there are usually options to just do that. But the thing about it is, if the campaign does not bring in that goal amount that the creator originally provided within the timeline of the campaign, then all pledges are kind of revoked and go back, and you don't get charged the amount that you said that you were willing to put in. If it does meet the goal, then once they close the campaign, you'll get charged the amount that you pledged, and then it's a waiting game to see if the goal, the expectation, the end that they have advised actually comes to fruition. There is absolutely no guarantee that just because you have pledged this money and given them this money, that the project will make it all the way to the end. They could come in, run into all sorts of problems that, result in cost overruns and just make it impossible for them to meet the goal that they were intending. And at that point, your money is essentially lost. You're not purchasing something as a, technically you're not, even if there are gifts or whatever you would be getting if things were successful. But if things go well, excuse me, and they are able to get whatever it is up and running and going, then once they get to a point where they're ready to actually ship stuff, if there's going to be a shipping cost, it would be usually charged at the very end. And that's what happened here. We got charged $20.83 for shipping, which was actually the US conversion from the Canadian cost. And then our bank charged us foreign exchange fees or foreign transaction fees on top of that. So we had a total, an additional 21, and I'm just going to put it right here, $21.45 in costs for that thing. Of course, when it came through, I was like, what the heck is this? And so luckily there were, wording on the actual charge in the account that I was able to kind of backtrack and be like, oh, this was a Kickstarter thing, and go onto the website and take a look. And here's the thing is they will often say, okay, I think we will be able to meet all these goals and have this completed by X date. I have yet to back something that actually finishes on time. I think the closest anything I've backed has come is it was 6 months late. The longest I have seen was 4 years. This particular one, I ended up pledging the money back in 2022, and the expectation was it was going to be ready in 2023. It's a board game that they created. However, they have apparently had delays and everything. So here we are in 2024 and it's still not done. But they got to some point in the production, I guess, where they felt like the end was near, so they needed to start charging people for shipping for any of the goods that they are to get at the tier level that they had pledged at. So this is just shipping. The initial pledge was taken a long time ago, but it was a good heads up. I did go and check to see if there are any other open campaigns that we had pledged to that down the line they're probably going to charge us shipping for, and there are 3 others that we have outstanding. Unfortunately, there's not really a great way to plan for when that's going to hit, because as a general rule, things are so far off of the estimated completion time that, it could be tomorrow, it could be 8 months from now, it could be 3 years from now. So we'll just have to be prepared that at some random time, a 10, 20, $30 charge might pop in because of a Kickstarter. And it definitely wasn't something that was at the top of my mind because of just how long of a delay there often is. So $21.45 extra. So what we're going to just do is take this 612, because there were no other deviations from these numbers, and add the $21.45, which makes it $633.45. And then we'll subtract that from the remaining, way up here, income of $28.83 and 12 cents. Come on, 12 cents. There we go. Which leaves us with a total of $249.67. My mouth wants to say words that do not match to what my brain is thinking. All right, we're going to move up here to the debt. We do not have any standard debt payments for Discover during the first pay period. We did pay the first of 2 snowball payments to Reflect. We are only going to calculate those for now. We'll fill out the rest of the stuff later. So I cleared that for some reason. 2249.67 subtract 488. So that leaves us with a total of $1,761.67. Now, something that I decided that I wanted to try and do is have some sorts of no spend days. I didn't want to make them any kind of like super official thing or anything hard and fast. It was more a, do I feel I can hold off on spending money? And if not, I'm not going to feel guilty about it because we do have it in the budget. But, every little bit that we don't spend puts us just that little bit closer to meeting our audacious goal of paying the Reflect card off by the end of September. So that was kind of the guiding piece of it as to why I wanted to give this a try, not because, I feel like $30 every pay period is an extravagant amount or anything like that. It was just, kind of a whim, and a real want to meet that goal. So I did end up managing to not spend the $30. I did not go to my Taco Bell. So this ends up being $0 there. So we have no change from where we were in the last category. So our total is still $1,761.67. We also did have the auto transfer to go to the yard cleanup goal of $100. Let's zoom that over. So we have that here. So that drops our total remaining income to $1,661.67. So, we did have a nice increase from where we thought we were going to land, which is great because, again, the more we have available to go to debt, the faster we can get the Reflect card paid off, and we can start focusing on our last shared credit card debt item, which would be Discover. So let's see what this actually turns into. So we're going to subtract our 100 from there, and then we're going to subtract 75%, which gives us $415 for savings. And then we will take that 1661 and subtract the 415, and that gives us 1246. Nice. So we're gonna fill in over here. We've got, instead of $399 going to savings, we have $415. And our change, or the cents for the buffer, is going to be that 67 cents. And now we're going to triage our 1246. So again, we've got our 0, 0, 25, 50, blah, 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 blah. Well, the closest one is going to be 1225. So instead of having $1,175 to go to the Reflect card as our main debt goal, we did, because this is closed out. All of these actions have already been taken. We're just kind of documenting it. So the 1225 has been taken off of Reflect, and we also had $21 that was able to be applied to Discover, which is nice, because often when we do see a shift in how much is going to go to Reflect and it ends up being a little bit higher, Discover sometimes becomes, the loser in that, and they only get, a couple dollars here or there or something like that. But, it's still a decent amount. So we'll come back up here. I do notice that I failed to add the expected debt payment amount for the budget last time. So we'll do some cleanup here. It's going to be $23, and this was going to be $11.75, and now we're going to cross that out, and this will be $21, and this will be $12.25, and this, I guess I didn't need to put the dollar sign in there, is going to actually be $12.46. So fantastic. Love to see the progress. I'm always very, very grateful to be in the position to have this opportunity, and particularly at this level for our debt and our savings. At the same time, it is a little bit of a bummer that we did have excuse me, a little bit higher cost than we were expecting here for the water bill, the unexpected cost here, because of course, if those two things hadn't come out of the total leftover, essentially, hadn't affected the leftover, we might have been able to bump to $12.50, and again, would be just that increment closer to paying the Reflect card off. But I am obviously not going to complain, because this is still very, very amazing. Let's close that down, and now we're going to take a look and see, what does the debt reduction, and let me zoom out of here just a little bit, for this pay period look like. You know what? That still feels like it's super far away when I look at it through my little phone doohickey. So we'll zoom in like that. So for Discover, we started August with a total balance of $9,525.89. We ended the pay period with a balance of $9,504.89, and that is that $21 payment. Next pay period, we will have our standard payment come out there. We started the month with a Reflect card balance of $6,994, and we ended the pay period at $5,281, which was a reduction of $1,713. So that is the standard payment that we make, $488, plus the extra, the $12.25 that we just talked about coming into play, which is awesome. So overall, we started the month and the pay period with a total shared credit card debt of $16,519.89. It has dropped down to $14,785.89, which is a reduction of $1,734. So nice here. We broke that $15,000 mark. I'm really excited, because even if we don't have extra money at the end of the pay period for next pay period. The standard 488 payment will bring us down under 5,000 here. I am, of course, hopeful that things will work out really well and we will have a decent amount to be taking off of debt and putting into savings in the next pay period, because that is where we will see the effects of this being a magic month, not just for the mortgage, but for Mr. M's pay as well. So there should be some extra oomph towards the end of the month, barring any kind of like catastrophic thing to come through. So fingers crossed that we will be seeing this rapidly drop. And of course, in conjunction, then our total debt that we have for our credit cards coming down as well. I look forward to having the opportunity to go over that, in the next couple of weeks with you. We are going to have a couple of kind of not usual videos come out. One of them we've already put out, which was a return to the garden, just to, see where everything was now that we're towards the end of the summer. And hopefully that's interesting to you guys. And then there's probably going to be another one that's a little bit more of a chit chat while I do a chore and kind of talk about some things that are on my mind. May not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally fine. Please feel free to skip them if that's not what you're interested in. We will, of course, always be doing our budget with me's and our recaps and our cash stuffings as well. But sometimes, it can feel a little drab and the same old, so I thought I would shake things up a little bit. One other thing I did want to throw out there, that is a bit of a concern for us. The company that Mr. M works for is a fairly large employer in our state. And if you have been following the news, and you have likely heard that they're doing global layoffs. So that might give you a hint as to where he actually works. We don't know at this time what the impact is going to be locally and more specifically for him. Obviously, we're hoping, considering the situation that we're in, that he will not be experiencing the effects of their layoff process. I am experiencing incredible anxiety about it. He seems to be fairly ambivalent, which I guess I can understand, because if they make the decision to lay you off, they make the decision to lay you off. There's not a lot you can do about that. But us potentially being in the position of having no income coming in would definitely be something that I'm not sure how we would handle. Because for his scenario, I don't see there being a dragged out layoff process. So we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. He hasn't had any indications yet that his area is going to be particularly affected, but you just don't know. So I feel like we have kind of gotten our feet planted, and we had put a plan together, and that we were in a position where I could feel somewhat confident we could weather this situation once my job goes away. But if something comes down the pipeline affecting his job, that's gonna throw us for quite the loop. And so I'm just going to put positive vibes out into the world, speak my truth, speak it into existence, that his job stays safe and he's able to continue working. with no changes and things like that. So just all positive vibes, all positive vibes. Ooh boy. So yeah, I am very cynical at this point about jobs and employers and stuff, considering the situation that I'm in. Um, so this is going to be a bit of a task for me to keep my mindset as positive as possible, even though I do try and be positive overall. Once the layoff, that bad word came through, and we were seeing this stuff in the news, the positivity kind of drained out of me, and I was like, oh my gosh, what? So anyway, we'll see. That's all we can do. We'll just have to wait and see where things go. Keep to our plan, continue doing what we're doing. But because that is a possibility on the horizon, we are absolutely going to keep our 75-25 process in place. Even if we meet the 12-month goal for my job coverage, because obviously the more money we can save, the better. I don't know that there's necessarily even a timeline for his job as far as how and what they're going to do, and if he gets past a certain date, he would know he's safe. I have no detail on that. So it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. We are going to figure things out, and we are going to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. Okay. Yes. So thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have any feedback, comments, suggestions, things you want to chit chat about, please note those down below. If you haven't subscribed already and you would like to keep track of how things are going for us, please consider doing that. And of course, we'd love it if you'd like the video itself. All right. That is going to be it. We will see you again soon, probably with our chit chat video. I think the budget with me will have already come out by now, and either the chit chat video will come before this one or it'll come after. And if it's before this one, then the next one will be a cash stuffing. So there you go. All right. I am done. I will see you in the next one.